Mic'd up.
I think Carl wore his best formal wear for the show.
Hey, welcome. I said we were going to start the show, and Carl jumped out of his chair and ran out of the room.
Stage fright, Carl. Stage fright.
Boy, that's all it took. That's all it took. One time.
Oh, but those dolphin shorts look great on you.
Somebody has to wear them.
Yeah, somebody has to wear them. Otherwise, they end up in a garage sale. All right. Hey, thanks for joining us. It's Robbie, Marty, and special guest Carl Babe Shanks joining us to discuss a very fun topic. This one should be good. We just generically labeled it top 5 MLB ejections. So this is somebody getting thrown out of the game. I think we're going to go in a lot of different directions. We're going to have the longtime managers that get thrown out all the time. We're going to talk about some of the Donniebrooks that have happened, which have resulted in suspensions and things like that. So there's some good ones in baseball history. There's obviously some umpires out there that are baiting certain players and managers, and we can talk a little bit about those. But that is tonight's topic. We are, of course, brought to you by Almanac Beer. And Robbie, we got to get some Almanac Beer down to Carl. Carl, I think you can find a few of the Almanac brands. What do you got there? You have the
Adventureland.
Adventureland.
Good for you,
yes,
Carl. All right.
Yes,
He's doing very well.
Yes.
Self-delivered by the one and only J.C. Penney.
Oh, very, very, very good. Very good. Very good. Yes, it's
on Friday or Saturday last week. We were playing golf on their way to fantasy camps.
Oh, got it. Yes, I understand that Adventureland is available at Safeway. At least up here it is. So yes, we are brought to you by Almanac, and here we are on the Mic'd Up podcasting platform. If you'd like to leave your question or comment, hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen and leave us a 30-second comment. We've got a few in here already. And I see one ejection that I remember watching on TV, and it is a classic. So we'll have to talk about that one. All right. Why don't we get started? Marty, what is your number 5 favorite ejection that you've witnessed or that you've heard about? You don't have one.
There's a great. It's what direction to go. There's so many. There's so many terrific. Some are rather creative that I'll include later. Not just yelling and getting into the face of the umpire and turning your hand around and all that crazy stuff. But there's one man that stands out that it doesn't matter what uniform you put him in. He's going to get thrown out. And of course, I just going through some highlights there. There was about ejections. There was Lou Piniella in a Reds outfit getting tossed. Yep. There's Lou Piniella in a Cubs outfit getting tossed around, and then also with the Mariners. But to make it to number 5, we can build on that, but it still was terrific. Lou Piniella back in 1990 with the Reds, and play at first base, and he didn't like the call, so he did the kicking and the yelling and the screaming. But and people have since repeated that, and I guess it's to show that it was the trendsetter that Lou Piniella was. He took the baseball, the base, first base, threw it. But I guess he didn't like it very far because he ran over, picked it up, and threw it again. So, and then there's that. Now you'll see, and we'll build on this later, that other managers have done the same thing and then expounded on it and a few things. But that was the start, I think. And it's Lou. So what do you expect? So Lou Piniella throwing first base back in 1990. That's where
Oh
we're going
yeah,
to start.
yeah,
So
yeah. He was quite the trailblazer. Yeah.
yes. Hey, Carl, what do you got?
One of my favorite ones. It doesn't really involve an umpire. Well, it involves an umpire. It doesn't involve a major league manager or a player. It was the Daytona Cubs, the minor league system. The umpire ejected the organist Wilbur Snap for playing Three Blind Mice prior to the game. I love that one.
Hey, Carl, I actually met Wilbur Snap.
Did you?
Yeah, I met him in Clearwater, Florida. He was playing the organ that night, and everybody was coming up to him asking him about why he got thrown out. And the story goes that when the umpires came onto the field, he started playing Three Blind Mice.
Yes.
So they tossed him. Yeah, yeah. He was very proud of that. All right, Carl, who's up?
Let's go with Robbie.
I will take it. It's the perfect segue because you got a non-player, non-manager, non-coach thrown out, and so do I. Um, this could easily be my number one, but I wanted to make it my first one so Webby didn't take it from me. The Dodgers were deep into an exhausting extra inning game at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. It was actually a 22 inning just nail biter. But Youpie, the giant orange Expos mascot. It was an extra inning game, so he was doing his job, right? He was trying to entertain the crowd. He was up on top of the Dodgers dugout, and he was jumping up and down and thumping and making noise all up and down the dugout, and banging on it and everything else, trying to entertain the fans. Well, Tommy Lasorda was not amused. Tommy, famously, not a fan of mascots and their shenanigans. He never really did like them. He snapped. He stormed out of the field or out of the dugout, started yelling up at Youpie on top of the dugout. Youpie did a bunch of mascot-y gestures back at Lasorda. So Lasorda stormed over to Bob Davidson, who was the umpire at third base and the crew captain, the crew chief. And Bob Davidson had his share of ejections over time, but Lasorda started yelling at Davidson, and finally Davidson did it. He ejected Youpie. So Youpie remains the only mascot ever ejected in Major League history.
Wow. Wow.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tommy.
I was not going to steal Youpie from you, so I will close out round 5 here with probably my favorite baseball fight / riot of all time. It's a Superstation game, TBS, 1984. Padres and Braves in a night game at Fulton County Stadium. A beanball war escalates. Greg Nettles is at bat for the Padres. He gets thrown at for by about the second or third time in the game. These teams didn't really like each other. And Nettles charged the mound with the bat, going after the pitcher. Can't remember the name of the pitcher. In this particular event, usually the bullpens come running out and everybody mills around for a little bit and then they go back and the umpires get the game back in order. That did not happen this night. The benches cleared a second time. Fans were throwing objects onto the field. The police had to intervene and pull fans away from players along the dugouts. In all, the big cast of characters in this one and you can look this up on YouTube, is Greg Nettles, Kurt Bavacqua from the Padres. They were the big instigators.
Yep.
And Bob Horner and Joe Torre from the Braves. Torre was the manager. 11 players and coaches were ejected from the game. I remember Ed Whitson getting ejected, and then he was half dressed and came back into the dugout. And he's got no shirt on, and he's wearing his underwear from the game, and he's trying to pick a fight with somebody, and people are pushing down. You don't want to go on the field. They're trying to push him back in the dugout. There were 8 suspensions, including multiple game suspensions, and its legacy is that it is still one of the most violent bat-involved incidents ever. The closest thing I can remember is when Marichal hit Roseboro over the head with a bat back in the Giants-Dodgers games. So in terms of baseball brawls, I think this is the number one that I've ever seen before. And, the 11 ejections kind of pumps it up on the list. So that'll be my number 5. All right, cool. Round 1 in the books, round 5 in the books. So let's move on with our 4th picks. Carl, why don't you start us off?
Well, you just you kind of stepped on one of them, which was the Marichal Roseboro one. But another one.
Tell us about it. Hey, act as if nobody knows about it. Give us the details.
Well, being a longtime Giants fan, I really felt that it was extremely unfair that Marichal would have been thrown. All he did was just, the bat kind of inadvertently struck Roseboro.
Yeah. I see. Yes. Yes.
No, it was in the old days. The Giants Dodgers rivalry was extremely spicy, I guess is the way you put it. A lot of hatred between the players. They didn't like each other much. The fans obviously didn't like each other, and it was it. If I recall right, it was an inside pitch that Marichal took it upon Roseboro for calling the pitch more so than I think it was it Drysdale that was pitching that day?
I believe it was Drysdale. And the way some of the Giants players said is that Marichal went after Roseboro because Drysdale was a much bigger person.
And that kind of played into it, but Drysdale had that reputation anyway, so everybody should have realized that. He was of that makeup of the same period as Bob Gibson and a few others. That you dug in the plate and leaned over the plate, the ball was coming right underneath your chin every time.
Yep. All right, Carl, who's up next?
Well, I'm not going to go to Robbie again, so I'm going to bounce it back to you, Rob.
Oh,
All right. I got a good one, and I think you'll all enjoy this one. A trip down memory lane. The night that Pedro Martinez got in a fight with Don Zimmer and knocked him out. This would be 2004 Red Sox and Yankees. And I don't know if you remember the 2 main instigators in this. They were A-Rod was at the plate, and Jason Varitek was the catcher for the Red Sox. And A-Rod got hit by a pitch and said something out to the mound. And I think we all like the next thing that happened. Varitek stuck his glove right in A-Rod's face and said, I don't care who you are, you're not in charge here. Then the bench is empty, and Zimmer, what was all of 5 feet 3 inches. I'm exaggerating, but he was not a big man. He gets in the face of Pedro, kind of takes a swing at him and falls on his face. It's kind of fun to watch. There was, this This is an impact game. It's a massive rivalry. It resulted in several fights going on in the field at the same time, with the umpires running in different directions. 7 players were ejected during this fiasco. But I think the reason I bring it up tonight is, one, it was funny to watch, and two, it was, Hall of Famer type players on the field in the middle of a fight. So it's very memorable in that way.
Tying
So
this
that's my
game.
vote for it.
There's a bouncer to the mound. It's bobbled, but he recovers.
Wrong one. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you had the audio for the fight. Oh, all right, Robbie, what do you got for this one?
All right. Well, I've named this guy on a couple of lists on our show over the years. He was always one of the top 5 guys I'd pay money to go see. He was one of the funniest personalities ever in the game, and this is one of the funniest ejections I've ever seen, and I highly recommend looking it up on YouTube or wherever you watch web videos to check it out. It's July 26, 2017. The Rangers, who Beltre was playing for at the time, are just getting blown out by the Marlins 22-10. Beltre, of course, guy that played the game like a kid, always looking for a laugh, always looking for fun, was warming up well outside the on-deck circle. He was actually really close to being able to see the pitcher. Clearly he was watching the pitches up close. The umpire warned him, and Beltre stayed there. And then finally the umpire stopped the game and stepped back and told Beltre, "Get in the on-deck circle." So Beltre went over and picked up the very heavy rubber matted on-deck circle and dragged it back to exactly where he was standing, and then got in the on-deck circle. Well, Jerry Davis, the umpire, threw him out, obviously. And it was really funny to watch because Beltre looks back at Jerry Davis like, "What? I'm doing what you asked. I'm on the on-deck circle." So the manager for the Rangers, I think it was Jeff Bannister at the time, he came out and, well, he got ejected too. So Beltre took out 2 guys on one play. But it is really funny to watch, and the expression that Beltre makes is just that perfect deadpan delivery, which is what made him one of the guys I really enjoyed watching.
Excellent.
Marty, I think that goes to you.
Oh, lucky me. Well, as I mentioned about number 5 and about what happens to first base, we're going to expand on that. But this isn't about Pineda this time. This is about Lloyd McClendon with the Pirates. The date of it was June 26, 2001. The Braves were in town to play the Pirates, and there was a bang call at first base. Lloyd McClendon, the manager of the Pirates at the time, came out to voice his displeasure with the call. Got a little heated, took his cap and threw it in the direction of second base. He went over to first and started kicking dirt around. And then he, like in the way that our good friend Pineda did, picked up the base. He didn't throw it this time. He put it under his arm and just walked right off the field. And the announcers were just going bonkers that they can't believe what they're saying. It was almost like a football game, and the guy's running over for the touchdown. He crossed the third baseline and he's taking it into the. And of course, it's elevated. And of course, once he gets into the dugout with the base, he throws it down the steps toward the clubhouse, turns around and hands the lineup card to the bench coach and goes storming off. A couple of funny things happened that really made it memorable afterwards is that one of the players took the cap that McClendon threw at second base, took it into the dugout, and put it, because the base landed upside down, so the spike is sticking up. So he takes the hat and puts it over the spike. So there's so it's like a little memorial there at the bottom of the steps to the clubhouse. But they said the biggest reaction from the fans came later from the simple clubhouse guy who's got to get an extra base and run it out the first base so the game can continue. And they said this guy took more flack than anything happened in the entire 20 minutes beforehand with the fiasco with McClendon getting thrown out. You know, sometimes you just can't win. The poor guy's just doing his job.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Hey, we finished the first 2 rounds, which means we get to take a break. What are we going to talk about, Robbie?
Well, it's my favorite part of the show, a little segment we like to call What You Drinking. And we mentioned it early on. Our good friends at Almanac Brewing have sponsored every single one of these 7,000 episodes of Highlights from Lowlifes.
It seems that long, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm glad that they are really good at making beer because they are not really good at making sponsorship decisions.
Yes, yes.
But here we are, Almanac Brewing, truly one of America's great craft brewers, and we get to enjoy beers from them each week on the show. No surprise, I think I mentioned last week I found my last 4-pack of Rocktoberfest, so I'm down to my last 2, well, one and a quarter. But the signature hallmark of Almanac is that they make beers that are rich, full, flavorful, and yet easy to drink. Unless you really want one of those really rich, heavy-duty, dense beers, they make those too. But they know how to make the beers that are flavorful and easy to drink. Even when you're drinking a Pilsner or a lager from them, they're always going to have far richer flavors than you're going to find in Bud Miller Coors and all of those things. So I'm finishing up my Rocktoberfest from the Lager series. Can't wait to see what's coming out next. What do you guys got? Sorry to catch you off guard.
Well, no, everybody's just being nice and waiting for. But I got the Seaside going on tonight.
Oh, nice.
This is again. They call this a West Coast IPA. What's the difference between an IPA and West Coast IPA? I really don't care.
More hops.
Is it really?
Yeah, West Coast are always hoppier.
Because this has a nice hop flavor to it, but it's not a heavy hop. They said, Robbie said it, hit it right on the nose. It says it's a nice, full, easy drinking beer. You get that nice hop aroma, and there's a little aftertaste of the hops, but it's not. It's a nice beer. It's not. You're drinking a beer and not hops. So I think Seaside is a great little IPA here. And once again, thanks, Almanac, because I don't like IPAs, but I'm drinking this and I'm enjoying it.
Very good. Go ahead, Carl.
Well, I have as I showed a little earlier, the Adventureland Pilsner, which is extremely drinkable and very tasty. And thank you, Almanac, for the sponsor and for creating such a great beer. Very tasty.
Yeah. All right. I'm getting hammered tonight. I'm going for the Big Love Double IPA.
Oh.
9.0 alcohol. 2 sips in, and I got to go take a nap. This stuff's really good.
I guess so.
Yeah. I would not.
Shorts.
Yes, I might have to have the dolphin shorts. I don't. I would not recommend having 2 or 3 of these. This is a real tasty IPA. The Love IPA, which is my favorite. This is the big brother, and it's taken its toll on me already. So I'd give that a shot if you're looking for something a little bit more robust than your standard IPA. All right.
And we got a What You Drinking call.
Great.
Teddy Bear.
What you drinking? Well, I'm sitting here at the hotel after a victory on the field in the first round of the playoffs. And thanks to JC, he brought along some Almanac Adventureland.
Yay.
Wonderful Pilsner that we can't get here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So he brought us Travelers. Thank you, JC. Thank you very much, Almanac. Adventureland is a great beer.
All right. Well,
Agreed.
Once again, thanks to Almanac. If you're in or around the Bay Area, you're making a trip out here, add it to your itinerary. Almanac's great. The Adventureland Brewery, as they call it now, has stuff for everybody. Kid-friendly, dog-friendly, people-friendly, loner-friendly, big group-friendly, you name it, they're friendly. So pop in and see them, and they really are one of America's great craft brewers. And if you do stop in, tell them you heard about them from the Highlights from Lowlife show, and they may take pity upon you.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Marty, you finished off round 4. Who starts off round 3?
How about Webby?
All right. All right. I'm back to the famous brawls on the field. I think I got one that you'll all enjoy. 2016 Rangers versus Blue Jays. Jose Batista at bat. You know, the poser, every time a home run is hit, he stares at it and then tosses the bat aside, which makes a few people angry.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happened this day. On this day, he slid very, very late into second base. Rugned Odor was the second baseman. Come on, you can say it with me. Rugned Odor.
Oh.
Or as fans of his non-fans call him Odor, but
him.
Yeah, Rugned Odor took exception to this late slide, as he should have, and landed what I believe to be the cleanest punch in Major League Baseball history, knocking the smirk and glasses off of the face of Jose Batista. And Odor, who is a much smaller man, was all over Batista and had him on the ground. He wasn't so tough after that, taken down and pretty much embarrassed in front of 40,000 fans that day. This erupted into a brawl. Bullpens came out onto the field. 8 players and coaches were ejected. It resulted in some beanballs later in the game. Batista was only suspended for 1 game, but Odor got a 7-game suspension. But I think that the team probably paid him and said, "Hey, thank you for knocking the smirk off of that guy's face." So this is what happens in this universe of bat flipping, where you get to see these guys, act as if they don't have anything to worry about. I'm just going to hit another home run and flip my bat after I watch it. So I think Batista learned the lesson. This is one you can find on YouTube as well. So take a look at that one. That's my number 3. All right, Robbie, what do you got?
All right. I think it was the year 2000. The Mets are playing the Blue Jays in an interleague game. They are in the 12th inning of an extra inning game, and Toronto's Shannon Stewart tries to steal second base. Piazza gets up and tries to throw him out. However, Craig Graybeck, who was at the plate, was trying to get a swing off. So Randy Marsh, the home plate umpire, ruled catcher's interference on Piazza on that play. Of course, Bobby Valentine, the manager of the Mets, exploded, as he was wont to do from time to time, came charging out on the field, got his argument in, threw a lot of expletives, waved his arms, did a lot of griping, and obviously was thrown out of the game. Valentine left, and that seemed to be that. However, it was a tense game, and Valentine didn't really want to leave his team, alone out there. So a few minutes later, the cameras caught something weird. There was a guy in the Mets dugout wearing dark sunglasses, a fake mustache, and eye black strips, and a Mets T-shirt with the hat pulled down way over with the brim over his eyes. And so the players were trying not to laugh, and this guy was trying to blend in as a Mets staffer. The coaches were not trying to look at him, and the fans, of course, immediately recognized that Bobby Valentine was back in the dugout in disguise. It didn't take them too long to figure it out, but long enough that Valentine, I guess, was in there for about a half an inning in the dugout, in the disguise, He wasn't re-ejected, but MLB wasn't amused, and they fined him, of course. But it's really funny if you ever seen the pictures. It kind of looks Unabomber-y, hiding
Yes,
in
he
the
does,
dugout.
Just missing a hoodie.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you got, babe?
I've got one that just happened last year, and it was our my favorite team, the San Francisco Giants, playing the San Diego Padres when umpire James Hoy ejected the Padres manager Mike Schilt after Schilt argued Xander Bogaerts' home run, which was declared a home run initially, but then overturned on replay, video replay, as fan interference, and the home run was taken away, and Schilt was tossed out. Obviously, I was happy about that because it was obvious to me the fan interfered. He reached over and it took away a home run ball that should have been caught by our left fielder. I think that was Helio Ramos at the time. So, the Giants eventually won the game 4-3. So, yeah, I was happy about that. But yeah, that's my number 3 right there, and it happened just recently.
Cool. All right. Hey, Marty, finish up this round.
Okay. I'm going to ask a little help with this from you guys. First of all, because it involves the Chicago Cubs, and we saw him play when we were there in Wrigley Field, which was an awesome experience. Thank you very much for allowing that to happen. There was I think it was a third baseman. His name is Wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Patrick
Wisdom.
Patrick. Okay. Because this has to do with him. Patrick Wisdom was tossed, and it's not a big deal. It was over a controversial strike 3 that he didn't like it, but and he wound up getting tossed from it. But the discussion that intrigued me, and I'd like to get your opinion when I'm done, was that the radio announcers were just not sure that you can get tossed that way. He took that inside pitch, strike 3, dropped his bat, raised his arms, grabbed his helmet, threw it on the plate, and he was tossed. The announcers were having a conniption fit. They even showed the replay where after he was tossed, Wisdom turned to the umpire and said, "I didn't say anything." And they were challenging the fact, how could you toss a guy who doesn't say anything? I thought, interesting, because his antics were over the top. He dropped the bat. I mean, this full thing, like it was signaling a touchdown in an NFL game, grabbed the hat, slammed it on the plate. He didn't drop it. He slammed it. But he didn't say a bloody word, and he got tossed. And I thought, that was disrespecting the umpire, so I have no problem with that. What do you guys think?
You've hit it on the head.
Yeah.
He disrespected the umpire. 40,000 people are seeing somebody throw their equipment, which is against the rules, supposedly. Now, a lot of umpires will let that go, especially if the player says nothing. But I'm kind of with you, Marty. I mean, the umpire's getting shown up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the batter is showing that they're not happy with the call. But I think that's the logic there is the radio announcers that they're homers for one,
yeah. Well,
and two,
right.
and two, they may not know the rule book inside and out either. So
yeah.
What do you guys think?
I take issue with it because, frankly, he was on my fantasy team, and the umpire took the bat out of his hands for 3 more at bats. So I don't like it.
Truth,
yeah, he's ruining the game for me.
Truth comes out.
Now we know.
Yeah, I should have known. Sorry.
Should have known. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, that was round 3. Hey, we're moving pretty quick here, guys.
We got a couple more rounds.
We got a
lot
couple
of
more
calls
rounds,
too.
and we got calls, and I got a lot of stories afterwards. They were talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
MLB suspensions, but I got a couple of good ones outside
yeah,
Major
yeah.
League Baseball. But let's
Hey,
turn to. Go ahead.
anybody that's listening, hit that mic at the bottom of the screen, and a clock will start. You've got 30 seconds to leave us a question or comment. We've got a few in here, and we'll play those after we get through the rounds here. Marty, who starts up the next round?
Carl does.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna go back a little bit and pick out one of my favorite managers for being ejected in the history of baseball, and that is the late great Billy Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to his 5 stints as managing the Yankees. I think he had 3 stints managing the A's, if I remember right. Maybe 4. But he multiple other teams.
I can't remember if it was multiple ones with the Yankees, A's, or I can't remember anymore. Yeah.
But to me, one of his most famous times was being tossed out in I think it was in 1988 against the A's when he was managing the Yankees, and he ended up kicking the dirt on the home plate umpire, which I think started that whole idea of let's go kick dirt on the umpire when we get kicked out of the game. So I mean, I think he started off with on the plate, and then he said, "Oh, that was it." He just kicked it on the umpire's shoes, and it was comical to watch, but you could just see the frustration with him. The interesting thing is, Billy got more done as a manager after he was ejected out of the game to get his team fired up to play ball than I think any other manager. Maybe Earl Weaver might have been a close second, but those 2 guys, they could find a way to get guys motivated by getting themselves thrown out of the game.
Yeah. In fact, when we do the honorable mentions, I'm going to talk about a guy that did this as a strategy. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Carl, who's up?
There was one other Billy Martin time where he got tossed presenting the lineups at home plate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you the idea of who he was, right?
He needed the night off. Yeah. All right, Carl, who's up?
Let's go to Marty.
Oh, okay, great. I got 2 stories for my number 2. Simply, it caught me simply because these are 2 stories that their removal of their apparel was paramount in getting them ejected. And the second one of the 2 was, I thought, rather creative. It didn't work, but I thought it was kind of cool. Brad Osmus was the catcher for the Detroit Tigers, and had a problem with the umpire, and it was going on for a number of innings until the umpire just had enough and tossed him. So he came out onto the field, and he said his logic afterwards was simply because the umpire had no idea where the plate was. He took off his jacket and laid it over the plate. So there's no excuse now. You literally have no idea where the plate is. So I thought that was pretty fun. The second one had to do with Jose Altuve, and I forgot about this until I saw it. And we all play ball, and we all know that if you're standing there in the at the plate in the batter's box, and you get struck by the batted ball in the batter's box, it's a dead ball. Well, the play that would happened is he got hit in the foot. He swung, got hit in the foot, and it was turned into a ground ball to third base. Third baseman picked it up and threw him out. Now, and to prove his point, and I thought it was brilliant myself, and I don't realize why he should have got thrown out. He literally took off his shoe and sock and tried to point to the umpire the mark it left on his foot. But the umpire thought, like I said before, that was showing him up. I thought it was a great way to try to prove his point, but it didn't work. He got tossed, so he literally limps off the field. Oh, well, nice try.
So funny.
Robbie, what do you got?
All right. Well, he had to show up eventually. Earl Weaver.
Yay!
Earl Weaver, obviously known for his volcanic arguments over the year. He and Ron Luciano, the umpire, had a feud dating back to the mid '60s when they were both working Double A. Earl Weaver as a manager, and of course Luciano as an umpire. Where over the course of their history together between the minor leagues and the major leagues, Luciano threw Earl Weaver out of the game over 90 times. It was so bad at one point that whenever Luciano's crew was assigned to an Orioles game, they switched him up with another crew member nearby so that Luciano was not in for entire season. Luciano could not umpire an Orioles game, and Luciano was a really funny, gregarious guy, super talkative, very colorful, really good for the game. But so one day, however, it was a doubleheader. The Orioles were playing the Yankees. Weaver gets himself tossed by Luciano, of course, in the first game after an extended argument. And Weaver got tossed so often that the players used to have a pool about what inning he would get tossed. And if he didn't get tossed from a game, the money would carry over to the next day. So this was an actual gambling ritual in the Orioles dugout. And we talked about gambling last week, so I do not condone this. Anyway, so it was a really long argument with Luciano, went on and on and on and on. And he's thrown out of the game. They come back out for the second game of the doubleheader. Weaver starts to walk out of the dugout with the lineup card in hand. Luciano throws him out right away. Just gone. Like, I'm not dealing with it this afternoon. Goodbye. Of course, Weaver reopened the argument after he got thrown out and kept talking about the thing from game one for another 2.5 to 3 minutes, according to the reports. So he literally became the first manager thrown out before a game started.
Wow.
That's great.
Who hasn't gone? Webby, you gone?
Okay, I think I got to finish off this round.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go to 2010. The Reds versus the Cardinals in the famous Brandon Phillips versus Yadier Molina fight. This all started off with a hard slide into Molina, which featured a bench clearing brawl. There, for some reason, was an on-field mic that caught Brandon Phillips saying the Cardinals were a bunch of little bitches. I think that would cause a problem. Molina used his mask. He threw his mask at a player that was coming after him. 6 players were ejected. Phillips was suspended 3 games, Molina 5, and Chris Carpenter for 2. This was significant because this is a long time rivalry, and these two teams didn't really care for each other. So lots of trash talk. It's the type of thing that could be expected at any Cardinal or Reds game because the games are usually pretty intense and they actually mean something, much like that Red Sox Yankees game before. So look that one up. Again, that's a YouTube special that goes on for a long time with the announcers just, oh my God, it's like they're calling a prize fight. So, all right, I have we finished the second round. We've got one more to go, but wanted to tell you a little bit about Mic'd Up. There was a show on Mic'd Up this morning hosted by Jonathan Burnett, which will probably roll into being something that will be regularly scheduled on the system. Jonathan is talking rugby, Champs Rugby in particular. 4 people were on the show talking about the Champs and how well they stack up against their opponents in the rugby league. Take a look at the show. It should be in the archive by now. And tomorrow AJ Robner and Steve Shinamako are back with another episode of the Robner Report. I don't know what they're going to talk about, but I did briefly see that they are not happy with the New York Rangers falling into the cellar in their particular division. So I think they'll talk a little bit about that. So that'll be tomorrow morning at 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern, the Robner Report. All right. Hey, let's get into round number one. Let's see. Carl, why don't you start this one off?
All right. So you guys, affectionately refer to me as Babe because of my side profile, physical stature, and the fact I stand on the left-hand side of the plate.
Really?
No.
I always thought it was from the pig from that movie.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Huh.
Now
Okay.
I know the truth.
My bad.
Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate that. So my number one is going to be, it happened on June 23rd, 1917, long before any of us were around. But it involves my namesake, Mr. Babe Ruth, and combined no-hitter with Ernie Shore. So what happened was Babe took the mound against Red Sox for the Red Sox against the Washington Senators, and in the first inning walked the leadoff man and started arguing with the home plate umpire Brick Owens. So he told Brick Owens, "Open your eyes, keep them open." The umpire threatened. He threatened Ruth, like, if shut up and be quiet. This pitch, Ruth said, "You run me out of here, I'll come in and bust you in the nose." Sure enough, Brick tosses him. Ruth charges the plate and swings at the umpire, hitting him in the side of the head. Obviously gets ejected, gets pulled out of the game by the other umpires and some of the players. In comes Ernie Shore, who proceeds to double off the runner that Ruth walked, and then pitched perfect game. So 27
Yes.
up, 27 down. But that one holds a special place in my heart because somebody like Ruth that was so, prior to hearing this guy from Japan, Otani, coming in, nobody could believe that you could pitch as good as he did and hit as good as he did.
Yep.
And play as long as he did and hit his 714 home runs. But also, as a pitcher, he was pretty dominant as a left-handed pitcher. So I always thought that was pretty funny that he got tossed for assaulting the umpire. And then, there's many more ejections that he had and other fights that he had with Kennesaw Mountain Landis and some of his managers over the years. But that was to me the most memorable ejection for the Babe because it turned into a perfect game and a no-hitter for Ernie Shore.
Well, most record books will give Shore credit for the perfect game. But there are many record books that say it is not a complete game because he didn't pitch to every batter in the game. And that there's always an asterisk next to his name. And I think that's sad. Obviously it was a great accomplishment, but through some technicality, he doesn't get the complete game. And I think baseball, even a few years ago, said, well, if you didn't start the game, you can't be a part of a no-hitter or something weird like that. So, yeah, that was quite the moment for Babe.
Yeah.
All right, Carl, who's up? Who's up?
Let's go with Robbie.
Okay. Mine's a two-parter because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to go with. But in a 1925 game between the Cubs and the Phillies, and look, folks, in 1925, you could do no worse than the Cubs playing the Phillies. They were two awful teams at the time. So it's a bad day all around just to start with, right? Well, Rabbit Moranville.
It had to come. It had to be there.
Rabbit Moranville at the plate takes a called third strike. Moranville believes the pitch is completely a ball, no question about it, not even a discussion point. And so the umpire took a little bit of umbrage to Moranville arguing the call and actually escalated the argument. Moranville was known for complaining, but not really for being an arguer. So The umpire actually escalated the argument. And suddenly, Rabbit Moranville reaches into his back pocket. He pulls out a pair of glasses. He carefully polishes them and then hands them to the umpire.
Oh no, not really, really.
Not a nice thing.
Yeah.
Not a nice thing to do.
No shock here. The umpire, of course, ejected him. But the fans he got a standing ovation and everybody was laughing. And that, I mean, it's really one of he went on to do some vaudeville stuff, and it's something that he recreated on the vaudeville stage for a long time. And the other one, a much shorter story, in 1938, as a manager, he got into an argument with the umpire. He brought a broom out to the plate and wiped off home plate with the broom. Of course, the umpire threw him out. So he went back to the dugout and came back out with a mop and mopped home plate and then said, I thought he threw me out because I didn't do a very thorough cleaning job. So thank you, Rabbit Moranville, for so many moments of joy on this show and in my lifetime. Marty, what do you got?
I guess I chose this one because of its magnitude in deciding the championship of Major League Baseball. It was early on in the playoffs, but it's still, we like to argue and make cases here. So I think it could be substantial. And we all remember this. It's replayed over and over again. It's the American League ALCS championship game in 1996. It's game 1. And it's the Yankees in Baltimore in the Bronx. And Baltimore was ahead in the bottom of the 8th. Derek Jeter gets up and hits a big fly ball on to right field. Tony Tarasco is back at the wall. He looks up. He's going to leap to catch the ball, and the ball is gone. It was ruled a home run. The only problem is that we can blatantly see a kid with the glove over the fence trying to catch the ball, but he literally, it was a fan interference. He's literally bending over at the waist with that over the fence and struck the ball struck his glove. He didn't catch the ball. It wound up rolling away. And at that time in the playoffs, we had 6 umpires there. So there was a right field umpire. He didn't see it. How he couldn't see it was because they even complimented him on the broadcast of, I had the Richie Garcia was the name of the umpire. I had it written down. They even complimented him on his hustle to get there and make the call. The call was wrong, however. It was blatantly fan interference. Tarasco was arguing. They even mentioned that the pitcher ran out there and was arguing. and then it was Davy Johnson was out there arguing. Davy Johnson was the one that got tossed. The Yankees ties the game in the 8th, win it in the 11th, win the American League Championship Series, goes on to play the Braves and beat the Braves to claim the World Series title. I'm not saying that caused, that they shouldn't have it. They shouldn't be the champions, but well.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Robbie, Webby, what do you got?
I think I'll finish it up. I want to mention a few names just because they need to be mentioned in a show where we talk about ejections. So for those of you interested, we talked about this earlier. Who has been thrown out of more games than any other player or manager? That answer is Bobby Cox, bar none. It's not even close. There were several attempts by Mr. Cox to exit games early or just show his general disdain for anybody that would make a call against him. He looked angry when he got thrown out of games. But the one I really want to talk about is Tommy Lasorda. As you know, we're a San Francisco-based podcast platform, and we don't have any love for Tommy Lasorda and/or the Dodgers. But the theatrics that this man would go through, they were clearly for the fans. I don't even know what he's saying to the umpires half the time, or whether it even matters. But the fake heart attacks, like, oh, how could you do that to me? Oh, what a terrible. Yeah. Here we are with this Hollywood-based team, and he is, as they say, presenting his Broadway level rage on the field, like he's been told, this is your role. Your role is to go out on the field and argue a call. I don't even know if he believed in that half the time. And as we talked about earlier, the idea of getting thrown out of a game to inspire your team. I think Lasorda did that more often than not. Whether it was effective, I don't know, because many times you'd see them showing Lasorda giving the umpire what for, and then they'd flash into the dugout and all of his players are laughing because they know it's an act. They know that his bark is worse than his bite. So that was the one I always loved seeing him thrown out, and I think he played into that. He'd go to visiting ballparks like San Francisco, and he'd welcome the boos. Yeah, you want to boo me? Boo. You've just got your money's worth for the evening. All right, we have finished 5 rounds here. Robbie, we have some calls, and then we should probably do some honorable mentions.
I think so. Technically, it's an ejection, so it could be a dishonorable mention.
Yeah.
I've got one ejection for you, JC here, involving the Sheik, Mike Sadek, who was called out on a swing, no swing by the first base umpire to end an inning. Then, coming out of the dugout, he looked at the first base umpire and adjusted his athletic supporter and immediately got thrown out. She couldn't figure out why.
So guys, I'm not questioning what JC said here, but I think I want to know if you guys remember a game, because I think this is actually when it happened. There was a short period in the Sheik's career where he switch hit. Okay, he decided that he could bat left-handed, and that would get him more playing time. It didn't last very long, but there was a Dodger game at Dodger Stadium one night, and the Sheik's batting left-handed, and he lines a ball about a foot fair down the right field line and cruises into second with a double, and the umpire called it foul.
Ooh.
Okay, he struck out on the next pitch, and I think that is when he grabbed his athletic supporter to show his disapproval and was tossed from the game. JC could be right. Maybe this is 2 different instances, but I vividly remember, here you do, you put all this work into batting left-handed, and you get a double taken away from you. So, yeah.
All right, mix it up here. Here's another call.
Long-time listener and number 1 fan, Vonnie here. All I can say for ejections is Tommy Lasorda. I can watch that one over and over again. I laugh hysterically, and I cheer it on. Kick him out. Boo, Dodgers.
I think she's referring to the one you were talking about, Rob. All right, and then JC had to chime in one more time. God bless him.
JC from the fantasy camp calling in. How about the Bull Durham ejection of Crash Davis? And the radio announcer says he must have used certain words that we can't use on the radio. And then Millie said, paraphrasing, must have called him a rooster vacuum.
Yes.
So you can tell the first call was pre-beer for JC. The second call, way livelier. It was,
Yes,
that was
yes,
post-beer,
Obviously,
JC.
he
a
enjoyed that.
lot more life in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys got for honorable mentions? Specific players and coaches or events with
I have another. Oh,
ejections.
go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I want to bring up one because I've told the story before because it involves my family. It's a minor league ballpark story about the Tacoma Tigers. They were called at the time. They were the affiliate for the Oakland A's back in the late 70s, early 80s. Backing up a little further, I grew up as a kid in Seattle, and my father's parents, my grandparents, would take us to the Tacoma games. We would have a great time at the minor league ballpark. Just to the extent of that, my brother got a job with the team I'm not sure the actual year. It was the late 70s, and he was kind of the gopher. He would help with the grounds crew, and he would take tickets. And the story has him. He was the Tacoma Tiger. He was in the Tiger outfit and was doing the mascot in the game. And there was the manager of the team was a gentleman by the name of Ed Noddle, a longtime family friend. If you wonder, when Billy Martin, first time being the manager of the A's, brought up Ed Noddle, and he was on the coaching staff for the A's for that year. But Ed was in a dispute with the umpire and got tossed. And I guess it was quite a vehement argument. And the rumor and the story goes that Ed wasn't finished after he was tossed out. All of a sudden, the manager comes up the manager of the facility comes up to my brother, who's in the Tiger suit, and says, "They want you in the clubhouse." Well, sure enough, the story goes about 20 minutes later, the Tiger shows up again. Not so animated and kind of just hanging around in the dugout or around the dugout. And it took about an inning before the umpire got suspicious and started between innings, started walking over to the dugout, knowing that something was up, and that the Tiger ran back into the clubhouse again. Well, sure enough, it was the manager that took the suit away from my brother, and the manager was in the suit, still giving instructions. The only problem is that, again, think of the A's back in the 70s. What gave them away? But the white shoes that he had on. The Tiger there that's hanging around the dugout had white shoes. I would tell this story, and I told it once at one of the camps. And we had the camps in Stockton years ago. And I was telling that story in the locker room. And all of a sudden, someone from the other side of the room said, "I remember that. I remember that." One of our Keith Comstock was one of the player coaches that was with us. And he says, "Yeah, I was on the team that day. I remember that vividly. That was the funniest damn thing I ever saw." So as it mentioned, what managers will do to once they get tossed to hold on to the team. So I promised I would tell when the story came out, when the topic came out of ejections, I promised the family I'd tell them that story again. So there you go. Thanks, guys. Thanks for putting up with it.
All right. Carl, Robbie, you got another one?
I got a couple of things that I'm just going to throw out there. So I was just kind of looking through just to see, who had the all-time record for ejections for managers. And obviously, we've already mentioned Bobby Cox. But do you realize number 2, number 6, number 2, number 3, number 6, and number 13 were all Giants managers at one point in time?
Excellent.
we have John McGraw's number 2, Leo DeRocher's number 3. So you're talking New York Giants. Bruce Bochy's number 6, only following Tony La Russa, who's at number 5. And then Bob Melvin is 13. So in the top 20, we got 4 in the top 20.
Yeah.
Well represented.
And if you really
Says a
want
lot
to
about
continue
longevity. Yeah.
if you really want to continue to hate active players, the 2 active players with the most ejections are 2 fan favorites, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. And Bryce is almost double what Manny is. So Bryce has got 21 career ejections. Manny's got 11. They're the only 2 guys active with double digits.
and that kind of makes sense to me. That those are the two biggest offenders. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other guys that would fit in that category, but yeah.
I was
There
thinking
you
a
go.
different vowel to start that word with, but it wasn't an O. It was going to be an A. But that it kind
Yeah. I was about to say that, and then I said offender.
So I will give you one honorable mention, and it's been disputed by a few people whether it's true or whether you made it up or not. But in 1990, Bo Jackson supposedly got himself thrown out of the game early in his first at bat by arguing strikes because he wanted to go see the birth of his daughter the same day. So Bo claims he argued balls and strikes and got thrown out of the game so he could leave the field because he wasn't getting the day off from his manager in order to attend his daughter's birth. Some people have questioned that whether or not he really got thrown out or not, but that was my honorable.
Yeah. All right, Robbie, got any?
Yeah, I got 3, and they'll be quick.
Okay.
Back to Earl Weaver, because why not, right? He is the only manager to be thrown out during a rain delay. He was yelling at the umpires. He had some issue with the way the tarp was on the field and yelled that at them for like 15 minutes during a rain delay, and they finally ejected him. Jim Marshall, not a very good manager with the Cubs, and so with the 1979 A's, who by then had been stripped of all their stars, Mitchell Page was no longer the rage. You had Rob Piccolo and Mario Guerrero and Pablo Torrealba and Wayne Gross on that team. It's a really bad team. Jim Marshall was the manager. And in one of the games, I believe they were in Texas, they were getting their asses kicked by the Rangers. And Jim Marshall went out to argue with the umpire. And in his argument, very theatrically, very demonstratively, the rage flying, he's like, "These guys suck. I've got a date tonight at Great Steak Place in Fort Worth. Can you kick me out of the goddamn game?" And they did it. Jim Marshall threw his hat on the ground and was yelling, "Thank you, I owe you one," and marched off the field. Then my last one, and this is really funny because in 1990, Yvonne, my wife, and I were still dating at that point. We hadn't gotten married, and we went to a Giants Reds game. We sat over on the first base side behind the Giants dugout area, and they were playing the Reds with Lou Piniella as their manager. And Lou Piniella had one of his rage fits, and went into the dugout, of course, after he got ejected. And you remember at Candlestick, the third base side was the visitor dugout, and there was no tunnel to the clubhouse from there. You had to march across the field. So Piniella goes into the dugout after getting ejected, because whenever you got ejected there, you had to go get your stuff and then make the long walk across the field while you were being showered with obscenities from the Giants fans at Candlestick. Out comes the water cooler, comes flying out onto the field. A bunch of bats and helmets come flying out on the field. Some gloves, a bunch of other stuff just comes flying out of the dugout onto the field as Lou Piniella's quote unquote gathering his stuff. And then he walks out with an armload of crap and just starts, as he's walking, is throwing things from that dugout all the way down, because you had to go down the right field line past the bullpen area to get into the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And he just throwing stuff along the way on the field as he walks out, and we're watching the whole thing. So from that day on, while Piniella was managing for the Reds, Yvonne made me buy tickets on the first base side so we could watch Lou Piniella flame out every year. And God bless him, he got thrown out of 4 games. I think we went to 4 games of 3 years against the Reds, and he got thrown out of every single time when we were there. Not quite as great as the first time, but he's still just classic watching that stuff fly all over the field. And I think my favorite part, personally, she loved him throwing the tantrum. I loved the guys coming back out, like, Barry Larkin and Billy Hatcher and these guys walking back out and picking their gloves up off the field that he had thrown around. They had to get their gear back so they could get back in the dugout and start the game again.
That's great. That's great.
So Lou Piniella is responsible for your marriage. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, he kept us together. It certainly wasn't me.
All right. Hey, good output on this show. Thank you all for joining us. We will have another show next week, 6 p.m. Pacific. Topic to be determined. But please join us next week, and please participate. Give us a question or a comment. We'd love to play it on the air and make fun of it. All right. Thank you, Almanac. Thank you, micdup. And we'll see you all next week.
Behind the rubber. He's got to go behind. He did not go behind the rubber. For me, he did. Listen to him. He did not. Oh, listen to him.
Oh, I like that one.
Behind the rubber. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit yourself. This crew is here just to fuck us. That's great.
That is Earl Weaver, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You run yourself, Earl. You run yourself.
Yeah.
You hit me? Yeah, because you put your finger on me. I'm glad you hit me.
Wow, you just made my week.
Fuck you.
You're supposed to beep all that, Robbie.
I was.
You hit me, Earl. You put your finger. That's okay.
If you're watching it, it's really funny because the other umpire and Eddie Murray are standing there and they're just giggling.
Yes, yes, yeah.
I didn't touch you.
Nobody's coming to the other umpire's help.
No,
They're
you're
just standing
lying.
around.
You're lying. No, you are lying. You're a big liar.
All right. Clap, Joe.